It is the 24th of December, the last hatch box present of the Dakota Irish Advent Dice Calendar. It has been a long, well, it has been exactly 24 videos, but it's been a journey. And the results of that journey so far are here in the bowl and on the patchwork hatches grid that makes out this calendar. So I was surprised when it did a different thing than what Dakota Irish had done last year. So last year they had I believe multiple variations, where the one that I got was called Moon, sort of theme, and it contained 3 full sets of 7 TTRPG die and 3 random assorted die, which in that case, for that set, was a class die, a D&D class die, D&D race die, and a D&D, presumably, loot die. So that was a really nice thing to get. Like, it felt very cohesive. I do not mind the assorted random dies. After all, as stated a couple of times during these 24 episodes, I have bought multiple times random assorted die in half-a-pound bags. So yeah, I'm not the type to complain about different die. In fact, I won't complain at all, and this is not a complaining, this is more of a how was it last year versus how it is now. It's not a last year was better versus or a this year is better. It's just a matter of how are they different. Okay, that's enough background story for the time being. I'm almost afraid to jinx myself here, but I am fairly certain that this is the D20 of the set that lies here. If it isn't, I'm going to be disappointed, because other than these two with the D4 being yesterday's pull, there have not been, as you can see, any die that have had a similar styling. Like, this have all been different die all the way through, and I've loved it. Like, I don't mind different die, as stated. A little weird that they got 2 of the same set and not finishing it up. That's sort of a little that is a little bit of a downward grade. But enough about that. This is not the review video. This is the last die of the Dakota Irish Dice Calendar. Oh, hello? Hello? I mean, I expected the D20, but a rogue D4? How did you get in there? Okay, well, take a look at the D4 first, because that's unexpected. What are you? Well, you are interesting. So this is actually a translucent die, but with a bit of opaque painting put in. So normally when you put painting in, you usually mix it up so you get sort of a cloudy effect, kind of like this, or in other, like in situations like with this opaque one, where its base color was this blue, and then you have mixed in green and whites to sort of swirl it around to get these patterns. That's the standard procedure of doing it. Clear resin die are usually just poured, and just like if they have something in them, it's usually mixed in as you pour. This one is base translucent, so it is basically like you can see through it. And then they have poured opaque, I think it's black, paint down into it, which if they are then sunk in down into this. So this die have lied like this, like in almost this exact position, with this way downward, when it was cast or poured. I mean, I don't mind getting extra die. I'm just a little surprised, that's all. But I will definitely take extra die without extra cost to me. That's one more die than anticipated. That is actually lovely. I do not mind that at all. But first, before we go on to the main course, the D20, it gets to roll in the tower. That's a 4. So not only is it pretty, it also made its first roll very well. Good luck on that magic missile. Right, the D20. I was a little concerned about the D20 for this set. The reason for that is that the font styling works when it is large and when it is on a big surface. With the larger number of die incoming, surface area of each side has increased. And with the tinsel and all being in there, I was concerned about this one. Other than 6 and 9 having a not particularly visible dot, it actually looks pretty good. There aren't sides that appears to be extra glittery or extra tinsely in behind it. So this die actually holds up. Like, there is not much to put a finger on here. And it is, as the rest of the set, very, very pretty. This has been a lovely bit to get as a last one. I don't know if that is meant to be like that, so that it's meant to be like you finish up the set in the last one. I don't know if that's the case. It's not really important either, if it is. But I think it is something to consider, like, do you want people to get a surprise early by having full sets given out? Or do you want people to sort of have the expectation of waiting until the final day, the final hatch, the final box to get the final die, and then have it be like this very pretty set? I'm very much in love with this. This is it's reflective, it's hard edged, it's got a different font on its lettering, it's got easy to read lettering. The 19 does seem to sit a bit wonky, like it sits a bit low, where you can see none of the other 2-digit numbers sits that close to the bottom of its part. It's a nitpick, but that's literally all that is, I have to say, that is wrong with this die. Well, that and the 6 and 9 marker being that tiny as it is. And you can see it is also a bit smudged on the 6 here. That could use a bit of an extra bit of paint, I think. And it's not like isn't a divot for it. I just think that they were a little too quick to paint this over and look, okay, yeah, it seems that there's paint, so that's probably good enough. This is a lovely die. Right, the final roll through the tower for the Dakota Irish Dice Advent Calendar. 13. Well, I hope that isn't indicative of its luck. Well, thank you so much for following along the Dakota Irish calendar. This has been a pleasure to do, especially having bought this phone holder and ring light, which have made it a lot easier rather than me having to hold my phone. and try and do steady cam while opening hatches and boxes and picking out dies with only one hand. I hope that I can do this again next year. Who knows? Perhaps with more types of advent calendars. If you have suggestions for dice makers that make quality advent calendars, I am more than happy to look them up and perhaps through the goings of 2025 see if their dies are of a quality that I would like and of a variety that I would like. And if they then make an advent calendar, I would definitely be happy to check that out. And if you suggest a calendar and I then, based upon your suggestion, get to make that video, I will be happy to give you a shout out. Like, if you don't want that, that's absolutely fine. There's no enforcement of that. But I would love to do this, and this has been great. I love the variety of dies, and I love how pretty the final set is. This has been amazing, and I hope you all have a happy holidays.